you might be wondering how this documentary ends. Well, this is a documentary that has no end, because how the story of not only the highway route movement, but the story of Trinidad and Tobago, how that story goes depends on you. You have the power to make a change for the country, for the people, and for yourself. And one little change goes a long way when it adds up together. When the day comes that we can finally walk around free, without worrying about being embarrassed, without worrying about being mugged, and even raped and murdered for our thinking differently, that will be true progress. The day when we can discern a sellout citizen from a real, authentic citizen. Maybe that will be the only way that we can move forward ever. But if we continue to remain close-minded, we will continue to be worried about being real. And that, my friends, is the beginning of the end. Perhaps we all have a role to play, Trinidad and Tobago. Perhaps we all have a people to serve. How we think is the first and most important step. Perhaps some of you are participating in jobs that do not build the country but actually destroy it. You need to quit it. Perhaps we are chasing success so that we can prove something to the world. Perhaps we want fame. Perhaps that insatiable hunger was planted deep within our minds by our parents and by some of our teachers who we trusted so much. Is it true that the need to please has taken us over? Perhaps we need to stop trying to please the kind of people who don't know what is good for Trinidad. Perhaps we need to stop trying to please our international peers, not unlike the house Negroes that Malcolm X told us of. We need to stop selling ourselves short. We need to understand that someone is not better than us just because they're international. The fathers of our fathers fought for our freedoms, and perhaps the MBAs, the degrees, the fast cars, the nice clothes all have a place, yes, but maybe we got these things thanks to those very forefathers, and maybe we are forgetting that. Perhaps it's only even possible for us to get these things because of the road paved by our forefathers and foremothers. Will history repeat itself again? Will we deny truth so we can live in a false bliss of ignorance? Perhaps that is the true horror in our country. It is not the fact that criminal elements exist in power positions. No, perhaps it is the fact that so many Trinidadian citizens do not care to seek truth. How could you call yourself a religious, self-respecting human being if you can't even do that? That reminds me, they say never to speak about religion and politics with friends. But look at it closely. It is the fear to properly address these real problems of today that will only lead us into a much worse tomorrow. We do need to talk about these things. Can you imagine a worse poverty in this country? Can you imagine worse laws being passed for our future generations? And our future generations being so scared that they don't stand up to it? Can you imagine a worse state of the family unit that we once called the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago? We can't let our family unit split apart any more split apart than it is already. I ask you, who has all the answers? Not me, and I don't think anyone does. In fact, there may be mistakes throughout this entire documentary, as well as many other documentaries. But truth will always shine through. It's not up to me or up to you. It's up to us as one to ask the questions, to seek the answers. Perhaps if we ask the right questions, it will invigorate the youth to their higher purpose as citizens. and they do hunger that higher purpose, yet so many do not know it. And they end up looking for fulfillment, of course, in all the wrong places. In summary, we are losing our ancient wisdom, our real culture, as we have become continuously distracted by our false sense of progress. We do need the new. I'm all for it. We do need to evolve, but that is entirely different from selling out and destroying the foundations that are positive and always were and always will be. That timelessness. One of the main things that we have forgotten in all our progress is how to problem solve. Why is it that the schools are only teaching problem solving as it relates to mathematics and not problem solving as it relates to life? Why is it that entrepreneurs today all have to partake in serving masters who do not care about the country in order to be successful? Is that the kind of entrepreneur that we want in our country, Trinidad? Or do we want people who are nationalists, who actually care about the country and are not willing to sell out? Are our institutions getting to the core of our problems, or are they fueling the very thing that breaks down real progress in our nation? Remember, as Kevin Dutton stated in his book, The Wisdom of the Psychopaths, being a CEO is the number one choice for a psychopath, which is a person who lacks empathy, can lie easily, and only cares about themselves, not others. Our institutions, I am sure, do a lot of good in many ways, and I don't mean to insult any of the hard-working individuals who are trying with their small businesses to build our country. But my question is simply this: could it be that these institutions are leaving out something of extreme importance? The political education of the very structure that their small business has to thrive within. After all, the Africans working as slaves in the cotton fields were extremely hardworking, more hardworking than any of us, as Malcolm X said, from sunup till sundown. But was their work truly progressive? Or was the real progress coming from the Africans who refused to do that work and rose up against the slave masters? The Africans picking the cotton built America, which is one of the most progressive places in the world, according to many. And what did the revolutionaries do? Well, most people see them as anti-American, people who wanted to bring down America. Our institutions, whether it be UE or the Arthur Luck-Jack School of Business, say they are building leaders. Well, we need to know, are they building leaders who will be revolutionary, or rather leaders who will keep us in a slave mentality and progress us to big business buildings with higher profit for a few and a much lower wage for others, as it feeds off the very system that enslaves us? Personal profit at the expense of others. No one wants to build their own work or build their own land. I can't blame them, because it's already so hard to obtain it. And there's a feeling of shame about working in the gardens or fields. I mean, this is our rich soil that we're talking about, our great resources. These great resources are hoarded out to the internationals, just so businessmen can feel a sense of pride over others in the country at the expense of those people. Are we willing to sell our brothers and sisters out just so that we could feel better than them? Just so that we could feel like we shook hands with somebody from America? Do we realize that we can utilize our land for agriculture that could freely feed our entire population in public gardens? Or do we just put up malls instead, shopping plazas and car dealerships? Many schools inadvertently teach kids that they are useless and unimportant due to their not having a degree or not having a top place in the class. Do you, Trinidad and Tobago, see this abuse? This is real abuse that makes the child think that his or her own self-worth is all about how successful they are in the world, not about how honest they are, not about how authentic they are. We practically teach them that it is good to sell out. We build our kids up to be robots by forcing them to do actions without explaining why they should do it. They learn to do as told and ask no questions. And what is the outcome? Well, they are taken advantage of by the intellectuals who do ask questions. You see, that is because the people with power, and that includes intellectual power, misuse that power just to take advantage of people who are intellectually less than them. We rather have educated but naive, senseless kids than authentic, spiritual intellectuals who care about the country. Do we ask our kids about what they think about the country and how they're going to help it? Do we ask our kids about Maurice Bishop, Sant Bindranwale, and all the other revolutionaries? No. Our question is, what subjects are you doing? How much did you get in this? Which school are you going to? What you gonna do for money? Money, money, money. We breed a hatred of money in our children, even if they are making big money. Maybe they grow up to be millionaires. They grow up to be self-hating millionaires. Let's play devil's advocate, as they jokingly say, and think about just how bad things could get in Trinidad if it is that we let the transport and food situation get worse and worse and worse. Remember, there are some places that are very hard to get to and from. These places seem almost left out. And if we let the transport problem get worse, those people in the countryside will not be able to travel freely to get their simple necessities such as food. And they will be forced to make do with what they have. And that is why we need these places to not only have proper transport, but we need everyone to start growing their own food. If we look at the extreme of this situation, it could actually end up in people dying of starvation because they cannot get to food, financially or physically. We can even see that as a country, we will continuously fall into that food import bill that we love and just continue to import more and more food when we have it all right here. Or rather, we have the ability to have it all right here. Who controls the oil controls the food, and who controls the food controls the life. Remember that, Trinidad. Food scarcity is the ultimate problem and the ultimate political weapon of control. I wish you could see it. You need food no matter how spiritual you are. I know, I went on a 40-day fast and your body can survive it, but you need food eventually. What if someone said to you, hey, looky here, Trinidad, you want food? Well, turn over your guns and turn over your liberties first. Would you take it? Imagine yourself in the situation. Will that food taste good? Or will it taste like sellout food, bitter in your mouth? Will it ease the pain of knowing that you sold out? Ease the pain that you were not honest?